We are the Toledo Spirit Hunters. Spirits Awaken is what I like to think of as kind of chapter 1 for the Toledo Spirit Hunters, and I believe that we are going to have many more after. So just kind of an introduction of our team. We are a team that consists of 4 members. We have Dennis Hagan, who is co-founder. He is one of our investigators, and he's been in the paranormal field for almost 3 years. Then he is married to Maggie Hagan, who is also co-founder. She is also an investigator, and she has been in the paranormal field for 6 months. Then there's me. I'm an investigator, video editor, and I also deal with the social media. Then we have Matthew McCauley, who is our team medium, and he joined from his own personal experiences, which have led him to the team. So what does paranormal mean? It's more than just ghosts, and it's more than just spirits. It's the overall events or phenomena of things beyond normal scientific understanding. So aliens, UFOs, Bigfoot, those are considered paranormal. With paranormal being such a general topic, there's subtopics, and that's where we fit in, is the subtopic of ghost hunting. So what is the job of a paranormal investigator? We don't do exorcisms. That is not where we come in. What we do is we interview people who have had paranormal claims. We do a little bit of background research on the location, and then we ourselves go into the location and try to collect evidence, footage, and data to then later on, if we feel fit that there should be an exorcism done, rather on a person or the location, then you would have to have, most religions require you to have an approval by a church or a specific church member, such as a priest. You would need their approval, and so that's where we come in. We give you the data and everything to provide, to give to the church. So then a little bit about equipment. This is what we would call kind of like a starter kit for if you were starting out paranormal investigating. We have the IR camera, thermal camera. Then we have the voice recorder. The voice recorder is, sometimes EVPs are so quick it's hard to catch. So voice recorders are a big help with that. And then we love our REM pod. Our REM pod, it lights up and stuff when something is in its presence or touches it. It's very good if you have intelligent spirits. It's a good way to get direct communication. How do you know if you're being haunted? Well, easy. Trust your gut. If there's a specific corner that makes you feel uneasy, scared, depressed, there may be a reason. If you feel like you're watched in a certain room, there may be a reason. Your senses are a very powerful tool, a lot more powerful than you may know. There's also sounds, footsteps, knocking, EVPs, and then there's also been claims of nightmares where multiple people in one household will have the same exact nightmare. That's a good sign. Manifestations, shadow people, mist, things like that. Physical activity, that would be the pulling hairs, scratching, stuff like that. Types of ghosts. So this is not limited to, but this is just due to our research. There's messenger, which these spirits, when they become spirits, they have a message that they so desperately want to give out to people. And that is why they're here, is they have a message. The way that they can become bad is when they become so desperate that they would do anything to get their message out, and that's where they can become evil. There's animal spirits, cats, dogs, birds, things like that. A rare spirit is what's known as a brownie, which is this picture over here, the orangish picture. Those are Scottish folklore. The signs of those are if you have small amounts of food missing, or if you notice chores that you didn't do being done. That can be a brownie, but it said that if you offend them, they can become as evil and as strong as a poltergeist, which we'll get into a poltergeist here in a second. Then there's residuals. Those are more of like a memory. They really do live in the past. They usually are from traumatic deaths or things that happen to them that just cause them to feel angry and just stuck here. So they don't usually understand that they are dead. They just go on and just do like the same thing of like the last moment of before their death. And then there's shadow people. Shadow people, you know, the figures where, you know, you see like a shadow figure standing over your bed, things like that, that would be shadow people. Now a fetch, also known as a doppelganger, these are said to be spirits that may look like someone, meaning it's not the actual person themselves. So, which we'll talk about later on, the Waverly Hills Sanatorium is said to have doppelgangers. So I could see Dennis walking into a certain room, and then Dennis is actually standing in this other room. Well, I just seen his doppelganger. Now the thing about doppelgangers is, if you are to see your own doppelganger, it says that like right after that you die. Something causes your death. So if you ever come across like yourself, maybe you should be worried. Then there is a Dybbuk, also known as the possessing spirit. It's exactly as its name. It's what, those are usually the ones that do the possessions. And then the poltergeist. Poltergeists are the things that cause things to levitate. They're usually demonic or devil spirits. They possess people, they cause harm. They're no good, basically. So when is it that you should seek help? Now this is really up to you. Curiosity, if you're curious of what's going on in your home and you want to seek out to a paranormal investigator, do it. If you feel that the activity is getting so bad that you feel that there should be an exorcism done, you would want to call out to a paranormal researcher because like I said before, you're going to need approval by the church in order to get that done. So, and usually you're going to have some sort of evidence, some sort of proof to give to them to where they will find it worth it. Just a little bit more on exorcisms. Now these are not limited to, but these are two of the main religions, Christianity and Catholic. With Christianity, exorcists are performed by priests or an individual thought to be graced with special abilities or skills, whereas in Catholic, the exorcism is performed by a priest during a baptism or with the permission of a bishop and the prayers of deliverance, which may be said by anyone. All right, so now we're going to talk about the Waverly Hills Sanatorium, which is one of our most recent investigations that we have done. We did what's known as a public investigation, which is where you go and there's other investigators there, you switch floors and stuff like that. So this is taking us to our website. This is our blog, which you guys can access anytime you want. It's ToledoSpiritHunters.weebly.com. On there you can, there's one where you can see just about the Waverly Hills Sanatorium. Then there's kind of about our team. There's also in the About tab, you can see our introduction YouTube video. There's ways to contact us directly from this website if you were looking forward to that. And then we also do have podcasts if you are into podcasts. Right here is our Haunted Objects Live, which I will let Dennis show later. But for right now, we're just going to talk about our research that we have done at the Waverly Hills Sanatorium. The Waverly Hills Sanatorium is known to be one of the most highly active paranormal locations in America. This location opened in the early 1900s to isolate tuberculosis patients, including young children. The death range has been estimated to 5,500 to 6,500 deaths most likely. There were so many that they don't have an exact number. In fact, they didn't want the other patients seeing all the other dying patients, so they would take them down to what's known as the death tunnel, or the body chute. The death tunnel is 485 feet at a 45-degree angle. There have been claims of shadow figures, sounds of things slamming, and disembodied voices in the tunnel. On the 3rd floor, there are claims of a little boy named Timmy who likes to play ball with visitors. There is also said to be a homeless man who was brutally beaten and thrown down the elevator shaft along with his pet dog. On the 4th floor, there have been sightings of what's known as the creeper. The creeper is known to be crawling on all fours and has even been seen climbing on the ceiling. There have been paranormal investigating groups that have actually ran out of the sanatorium and have claimed that they've seen the creeper, and that's why they left. And then room 502 is a very famous room. On the 5th floor was the nurse station, children ward, and were patients who had tuberculosis of the brain. In room 502, there have been stories of a nurse who either jumped or was thrown out of the window. It remains unknown still to this day. And also in room 502, they also believe a nurse hung herself because she was pregnant, but she was not married. Now this took place in 1930s, so she would have probably been shunned by the other nurses. There have also been rumors that she may have contracted tuberculosis, which may have passed it on to the child. Sadly, the fetus was found in the 5th floor well system. So, we have a slideshow. Now, we know that not everybody believes in orbs. Not everybody in the paranormal field believes in orbs, but however, we believe in orbs. And we got some really good ones here, and you can zoom in on them, and it's big enough here you can see. It's not a bug. It's not. So this is just a little slideshow of pictures that we took at the Waverly Hills Sanatorium. And then, if you would like, if this is something you're interested in looking into, you can go onto our blog, and if you scroll down a little bit, we have actually the EVPs that we captured. So you can go in and listen to them. And I've got to say, as a paranormal investigator, knowing the history of a location is so helpful, especially when you go in and listen to EVPs. It helps you really understand them better. So, like I said, that is, you guys can access the blog whenever. We are going to be talking about haunted objects. Dennis.
All right. Yes, our haunted objects. Our team, I actually started collecting haunted objects like 2 years ago from Haunted Crap. I actually bought my first haunted object off of eBay. It was a long time ago. It was a dowel. I turned around and found out that it had a demonic attachment from a medium, so I basically put it in a mirror box and I buried it in my in-laws' backyard. That's a lot of acres, but it's 3 feet in the ground. So they have not experienced paranormal activity from it or nothing. There's black salt in the box, and there's also holy water, so it's contained. So I'm gonna go into some of the objects here. The first one's gonna be the doctor's bag, which you can see right there. This actually was back in 1940s. 1940s, 1950s. He was a Jewish doctor. I'm going to actually play. If you look up into the corner right there, it's the SLS footage from the investigation I did live, and the SLS footage. You can see if it plays. Let's see if it'll play. Okay. So as you can tell, there's actually a figure forming right over the top of it. And you can see the doctor's known to form on the SLS camera. It's crazy because then you see that figure on top of it, and then next thing you know, you see a figure standing next to it. Boom, there's another one. So I don't know if the doctor was forming over it, and then there was another manifestation near it. I don't know. That's something I can't really prove. But it was really good footage capturing from the SLS. And then right there in front of it. The next footage is where it's sitting in my house on my shelf. And if you watch, you can see the K2 meters jumping. When I had it in my house, he would light up the K2 once in a while. He would like say, hey, I'm here. He'll show his presence once in a while. Which was kind of cool. We actually have like medical supplies in the bag. We have a stethoscope, we have gauze. The next item we're going to talk about is the hand mirror, if it'll go. It was owned by Mary Cartwright between October 1910 to 1980. After Mary's husband died, she could see him in this mirror, she claimed. The claims to this object is you can see strange mists or shadows when looking in it. Okay, so the video that I'm going to play is some of the evidence that I've captured from the mirror with devices. So I'm going to go ahead and play it. Right there, I'm investigating live on Facebook, and you can see the K2 meter is actually lighting up. I was asking some questions, and it was responding by lighting up the K2 meter. The mirror was sitting in my house. It caused the EDI to go haywire, as you can tell, which was kind of cool. And here, the mirror is sitting on my chair, and the ghost meter is going off. It was causing the ghost meter to go off. So, whatever kind of energy is attached to this, it's pretty strong. So, it's really cool. Yes, the wheelchair. Now, this is an object that I bought from Haunted Crap. The wheelchair is actually 1930. The factory that built it was actually built here in Toledo, and about 1920 or 30, I could be wrong, it might be 1940, but 30? Okay. 1930, it moved to Perrysburg. And then come 1965, it shut down in Perrysburg, closed down, and moved to Defiance, where it now sits. The old factory in Perrysburg burnt to the ground, and now there's like a courthouse or some kind of government building that sits on top of it. The claims to the wheelchair is basically, you can have the ghost meter, it can cause the ghost meters to go off, it can put out heat signatures, and it was actually from a war hospital. That's where it came from. Another investigator had it, decided he wanted to sell it, and he was saying how it would get real heated on the thermal imager, which is really cool. Now, what we've captured from this wheelchair, which is really fascinating, I think this video right here was within 12 hours of coming back from Waverly Hills, and we actually captured evidence, if I'm correct, I think. It might have been the next day, but as you can tell, there was some kind of anomaly
That is the doctor's bag right there.
Yeah, that's the doctor's bag right there too. There was some kind of anomaly right there that we cannot explain.
That's what we seen last night.
Yeah, it was really weird. We seen that anomaly again last night, but I don't know We don't know what it is, but the next day when I woke up, because I usually go over my Nest camera that I have that's on my haunted objects 24/7, I go over and I seen it and I was like, what the heck, you know? And then I went to debunk it, and there's nothing. No spider webs, no spiders, no cobwebs, nothing. So I can't.
The same
Yeah.
camera that took the video, so there's no.
It's hard. And then what's fascinating, we have an orb or anomaly right here that's just moving back and forth on it.
And this was taken at a separate occasion.
Yeah, this is all separate. We can't explain that either. Some people said it was a mouse. Can't be a mouse because if it was a mouse, it would fall right through the hole of the wheelchair.
And we also show in the pictures the seat and everything. It's not that mesh where you can see through it like that. Right?
Yeah. I mean, and look at the speed of it. You can see it's back and forth, you know. It's very, very compelling. I mean, very nice evidence. Very nice. Oh, you gonna go on with this?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so with us collecting haunted objects and everything, the Toledo Spirit Hunters would one day like to own their own museum to show off their haunted collection. So we put together a little bit of some of our favorites, famous occult museums. So this one's my personal favorite. I love the Warrens. I love the Warrens. If you've watched The Conjurings or the Annabelle movies, those are based off of the Warrens' actual cases. These are, like, I've been on YouTube, I've watched The Conjuring 2 is based off of this place, I believe that's in Connecticut, and they have actual documentaries on YouTube that you can watch of the real investigation. And Lorraine Warren explains that the movie, The Conjurings, were really good at capturing like what she experienced, how she would tell it. Okay, so a little bit about the Warrens. In 1952, they actually started the New England Society for Psychic Research. Ed Warren, who was born September 7th, 1926, he actually passed away on August 23rd, 2006. He was a World War II Navy veteran, and he was also a former police officer. And then Lorraine, she was born January 31st, 1927, and actually died this year, April 18th. They have a lot of, as I said before, in The Conjurings, the Annabelle. That's Annabelle right there sitting behind Lorraine Warren. And over there in that corner, that they have it in this glass box with a sign that says, "Warning, positively do not open." They have a priest. They have them come in and they do what's known as a binding prayer. They do that, I believe they said once a month. But after Lorraine's passing, they closed down the museum. I'm not sure what they did with the objects afterwards. But they did actually, like, all of the objects in their museum are objects that they took from their investigation. So they're all haunted, cursed, been part of a Satan ritual. They actually collected from one of their investigations a gravestone head that predicted Ed Warren's death. It says E. Warren, and the death date on it is August 23rd. And that is the day that Ed Warren died. Lorraine goes on to say that she believes that it's destiny that has protected her for so long. She actually passed away, I believe, at the age of 92. Yeah, she was a clairvoyant, which, if you've seen the Conjuring movies, you've seen She's really good. When you go to their museums, you can't touch anything, and if you happen to bump something, you have to let her know right away, because then they're gonna have to do a prayer for you. They were Catholics. A lot of their research was based off of that. But yeah, you can go on YouTube, you can see their interviews, you can see, they do, a lot of places have done tours of their museum. Now they keep their museum in their home that they lived in for 40 years. So yeah, they kept it in their home as well. Zach Bagans has his own museum as well, and he even has a show that is hosted in his museum, which is Robert the Doll over there in that corner, which I will let Dennis talk about here in a minute. The divot box. We've talked about divots, we've talked about divot box. This divot box has been said to curse the famous Post Malone, the singer rapper. A little story behind it before I show the video. They were buddies just hanging out at the museum, and they were drinking, and for an unknown reason, something told Zach to take the divot box out of the glass holder. Don't know why. He knows better than that, especially being in the field for as long as he has. He knows better. But something told him to take the glass off of it. Then, later on, as you'll see in the video, he, for some reason, touches the divot box. You're not supposed to touch the divot box. Don't do it. Now, a little bit on the divot box. What was found in the divot box when it was opened, there were two 1920 pennies. There was a lock of blonde hair bound with a cord. There was also a lock of brownish black hair, also bound with a cord. There was a small statue engraved with the Hebrew word shalom, a small golden wine goblet, one dried rosebud, and a single candle holder with octopus legs. That was what was found in the divot box. Now, I'm gonna show the video of Post Malone and Zach Bagans in the museum. You're gonna see where, I'm gonna explain it as the video is going on a little bit, but then after we show the video, I will talk about how everyone believes he is cursed after the divot box. So as I said before, they're just a couple of guys drinking, you know, something possessed Zach to take off the thing. There he is touching it. You're not supposed to touch the divot box. Post Malone knows that. You can see him. He's walking out the door. He's like, not for me.
You actually watched it was in the orb that shot across.
Yeah, you can see an orb.
Post Malone touched him and he freaked out.
And then you see,
Like he freaked out, like he's backing out.
yeah.
Because look, he can't even get near Post Malone.
But then here's where the mistake is. Post Malone grabs his shoulder. This is where it passes on to Post Malone, right there.
And they're like, yep, let's go.
They leave, run. But Post Malone touched Zach's shoulder after he touched the divot box. So that's where they believe that it jumped to him. Now, the claims with Post Malone. Shortly after, now this took place in June. Shortly after this occurrence, I believe so, yes, it was this year. Shortly after he was at this museum, and what Zach believes, he touched his shoulder, it passed to him. His private plane had to take an emergency landing because the tires blew off for an unknown reason. A home in San Fernando Valley was robbed by 3 armed robbers. Then he was also in a serious car crash, but luckily he walked away injury-free. So, those are the claims with the Post Malone and divot box, and you wanted to talk about some of the haunted objects that are kept at Zach Bagans Museum. I don't know where the rest of our pictures went, but I'll let you do that.
Yeah, I mean, for people who know about Zach Bagans and his museum, you know, he has Peggy the Doll. There have been, if you guys are on social media, he posts his videos all the time. There was a video where there was a female entering Peggy's exhibit, And as soon as she walked in, she couldn't get even through the door, and she got blasted right in the chest, flew back. There was, before he did his Travel Channel live episode for 2 hours or 4 hours live for Halloween last year. Yeah. His camera guy smarted off to Peggy and turned around and walked down and had a nosebleed. I was actually going to do a slide on Peggy because I wanted to explain Peggy more, but as I was doing it, I was looking at her pictures, because the claims are if you look at her pictures, you'll suffer chest pains, nausea, lightheadedness, just on the internet. I was actually, within 10 minutes, I was experiencing nausea. I was starting to feel nauseous. I had to minimize her pictures, and I had to back away. I was starting to feel side effects. I also posted a video where, it was actually recently, where there was a guy who was walking through his clown exhibit. And when he was walking through a clown exhibit, there was a guy who was dressed as a clown, and the guy just turned, stared at him, just deadlocked eyes, and then next thing you know, he just fainted. There was a video going around where people were saying that it was doctored, but again, part of the museum, there was a female that you could see an orb fly past the female and she fainted. Zach Bagans' museum is very, very active. I've never been there. I've talked to some friends who have gone there. They've loved it. They've experienced a lot from it. But people do experience things there. As you can see, Robert the Dow, he doesn't currently own Robert the Dow. Robert the Dow was brought on to a show called Deadly Possessions that he did for his haunted objects.
Are you in here with us? Oh my God, he killed me.
So yes, we're gonna have a show. We are going to be on Amazon Prime, coming this November. Our first episode, just to talk about it a little bit, that is a case that we are actually still currently investigating. It's a residential location. This woman, this couple,
Yeah.
yes, in Toledo. Yeah, excuse me. This couple, let's see, I feel really bad for this mother. Her son passed away at age 35 due to strokes, and then her daughter passed away at age 45 due to breast cancer. She believes that they are still in her home, and from our investigations, we believe they may be in her home still. I don't want to give too much away because I want, you guys to watch the show, but we were able to capture a lot while we were Facebook Live.
Yeah.
We decided, we split up a little bit. I was with Dennis, Maggie went into his actual room, the son that passed away, his room. She wasn't there, we were upstairs, and we did our little sessions. Well, batteries don't last forever. We learned that very badly. So when we switched out batteries and those died, we decided it was time to take like a little break so that we could charge everything up. Well, we did that. we decided we were gonna go live on Facebook just to give a little update on our investigation, which is another reason why you should have us on Facebook if you like updates and see what we're up to. But we decided to go Facebook Live, and we were just sitting there talking, and not even 5 minutes into the live, we were able to capture more activity than we did within our little sessions.
Yeah.
So, now we heard what we call like a flickering sound. It sounded like a little flick. But the thing is like we wanted to debunk it, but there was nothing. And then we were kind of like thinking, the flickering was almost like a response. It was never the same amount of flickings. Like there would be like 2, and then you'd hear like 10 minutes 2, and then 10 minutes 2. It wasn't like that. It kept happening where you'd hear a flick, but there would be, if we were asking questions, we were investigating, and we would get 2 flicks in response. We would hear moving in the other room across the hall. Things were going on, and like I said, I don't want to give too much away.
Yeah.
But after our big thing that happened while we were live, we then went upstairs and we were investigating, and what we thought was crazy was he decided to do a spirit box. That's to capture EVPs. Well, we started off in the one room, and he and his wife Maggie had ventured off to the room across the hall. When he did this, I was in the room with the mother, the house owner. While that was going on, when they captured what sounds to be like a hi or a hey, something like that, what I heard was a growl in our room that we were in. But it happened at the same exact time. Now what's crazy is, we can prove that, and we will in the movie, or in the show, he caught the hi on his voice recorder EVP thing.
But I didn't catch the growling.
But the growling was, however, captured, because we were still live on Facebook.
Yeah.
We caught it on video on my iPad, and not only did I hear it, and the mother, but one of our viewers said, I just heard a growl. Because I didn't say anything because I thought I was mistaken, because he said, I just heard a hi. And it happened around the same time. So I was like, maybe what I heard as a growl was a hi, aggressive hi, maybe? And no, we went back over, watched the live, and it was a growl in our point, and at his point, it was a hi. As paranormal investigators, we want everyone to have access to getting a hold of us. We want to make it as convenient as possible. So not only do we have our website, as like I said, it's toledospirits.weebly.com, or toledospirithunters.weebly.com, my apologies. And then up here in the dark blue, that is our Facebook. That is what you would type in to find us, Toledo Spirit Hunters, Spirits Awaken. You can take a picture, absolutely, yep. And then in the light blue is our Twitter. That's what you would type in to get us. The orange is our Instagram, and then the red is our email. Those you can contact us, you can get a hold of us, and if you know a location or you have a friend or something like that, you can contact us with all these ways. Now, the haunted crap, that is where most of our haunted objects have come from. That's their Facebook page. You just type in haunted crap. And they post, even, if they sold the item, they still post pictures of items, and they tell the background stories. You can probably find our items in the background stories. It's a good place to go, especially if you're into specifically the haunted objects. And they actually went with Dennis and Maggie to the Waverly Hills Sanatorium to investigate. And like I said before, we like to make it possible for everyone to see what we're capturing, to have the resources they need, to be able to communicate with the right people. We want to provide all those sources, so we've tried something new, and it's called Amino. That is the picture that you see at the top right. Well, your guys' top left, my bad. Amino. Now, you can go into your app store, you type in Amino, you download it. It's like a little community type thing. They call it communities. We made our own community. It's called Spirits Awaken. So Amino, this is something that our group is getting used to. It's kind of new. It's, just a different way to reach out to people. And we've actually been pretty successful with reaching out to people. We've had people, what was it, yesterday? We had someone who had a friend and also personally was dealing with some stuff. And with this field, it varies based off of religion, so it's a very broad topic. So when we provide these resources, we have public chat rooms where you can go and you can specifically talk to the Toledo Spirit Hunters, or you can go to our community chat where you can talk to paranormal investigators that have joined our community. You can get everyone's religious ways of protecting yourself or doing an exorcism. Yes, like I said yesterday, we had someone who had a friend and also themselves. They wanted to protect themselves because they were having, their shower head was moving while they were just cleaning the bath. So they wanted to know, how can they protect themselves at home? The main thing is, based off of all the research that I've done, you have to get close to Jesus. That is your biggest, you have to believe in a higher power. That is what will help you through that. As I showed before, Christians and Catholics do different exorcisms. We yesterday had a situation with a pagan. We actually had someone who was pagan and knew, the protection behind it and stuff, and she was able to help the person that we couldn't. Also with the app, if say you're out of our location, we're able to communicate with other paranormal investigators that may be within your area where you need to be investigated if you need help. It's an easier way for them to contact, Matt, a medium. It's been a different way for people who just have that paranormal investigating interest. They can just go on here and we put up, locations that, background information. We put up haunted items. It's just like a little, almost like your own personal Facebook for paranormal stuff, if you will. Like I said, we put ways that you can contact us, our links, everything. Our live cam you can access that way. Then in the left corner, those are our sources that we used for this presentation that are not from our own experience, but if we needed to further, data. I love talking about the Warrens. The son-in-law talks about how Ed Warren, skeptics were always telling Ed, you just want to be on the news, you just want your show, you just want a movie, you just want books. And he said, you're damn right, because then he spreads the word that these are real, these are things that are like really happening, and it's opening people's eyes. And I feel that as investigators, as researchers, that's what we want to do too, is we want to spread that. We want to give people the info and resources that they should have. So I stand with Ed Warren when he says, yeah, we do want that, because that's us spreading what we're doing. That's, when, people say like, why would you do this? This is dangerous. Police officers don't always want to walk into, a gun-pointed type of thing, but somebody has to do it. It's a job. And that's what we do here. We help people, and that's what we're here for.